Here I am on the wrong side of the table. I always know when it's always a day that I'm here with you.
So
when
funny.
You make me switch spots.
I always thought that I need to pay closer attention.
No, it's perfect. It's good. It's good to mix it up a little bit. Get a new perspective on things. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
And here you are with your phone and not your.
I know. I hate it. We've mentioned this at one point that writing past Charlie was getting really difficult.
Yeah,
so I've started taking the notes on the phone, which now here it is. But she's starting to go in the nursery, so I might have to bring the notebook back because I do prefer.
Got it.
I prefer to write.
Yep.
We have the candle.
Look at that.
In question.
Can you show everybody.
Here's this.
Here we are in the room, and here we are with the evidence.
The candle.
Of Billy's. Can
melted.
you say negligence?
Yeah. There's a little bit of paper burnt into the candle.
And you would just never know. You would never know by looking at
No,
this
because
alone.
it looks like a pie.
It looks like candle in a pumpkin pie.
Yeah, it does.
But even this little burnt mark, you would never know this room was filled with smoke and there were ashes all over the place.
No, and I can say that I walked in that morning and I thought to myself, that is a weird smelling candle.
Yes.
Like the fan was working well and it was dispersing all of the smoke, but then it was an interesting smell here. For
Adam,
I
watched after it was all said and done. Adam walked in, he walked past my office and I heard him say, "Oh, Matt must be burning a candle."
Matt does often have a candle.
There's a story behind that.
Yeah, that's a good one. But a great representation. In case you missed the sermon yesterday, I hope you didn't, and I hope if you did, you'll go back and watch it. But this candle nearly burnt the church down.
Yes.
Basically.
I was sitting right there. I'm so glad I was.
Because you could see it.
I could see it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And we were working on this very message series.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. And the tie-in yesterday was the fact that a little spark.
Yes.
And this was from James, straight out of James chapter 3.
Yes.
That a small spark can start a really big fire.
That's right.
And that is indeed what happened with this pie. But you mentioned a story from your childhood that was much heavier.
Yeah.
And then the candle incident.
Yeah. If you didn't hear the message, basically our trailer burned down when I was about 4 years old. And it won't go into all the details, but it started from a very small spark that nobody knew was there. And that was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still remember the sights and the sound. I remember they let us walk back into it, which I don't know that they would let you do today. It seems a little risky that we did that, but we walked in and we looked around and I saw my burnt toys and the smell, and it was just also graphic to me. And,
right.
Had a big effect, but it all started from a small spark.
Yeah. And all of us have the context of we're living in right now this season of it hasn't rained, so we're all in like the red flag warnings of no open flames outside. There were some forest fires just over the line in New Jersey last week or so, and a little spark is big deal.
Absolutely.
And the point yesterday, coming back around, was the fact that our tongue can be like that in life in general. Like our tongue kind of can direct our lives. What we're saying, what we're doing, what we're saying leads to what we do.
Yeah.
And especially in the context of conflict, controlling our tongue is vitally important.
Yes.
Which is what yesterday was really about.
Yeah. I didn't use it, but I love it's kind of more of a kid's illustration, I suppose, but with toothpaste, in a toothpaste tube. Have you seen that?
Yes. Yep.
Once it comes out, just can't get it back in.
Can't put it back in. Nope.
And we've all been there. We've all been on both ends of that. Saying things we regret, hearing things that were hurtful. Yeah. Words are powerful. The old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Quite honestly, it's a lie.
Yeah, it is. Because words might not break your bones.
Yes.
Right? But they can break your spirit.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Which
is arguably more serious
Indeed.
than a broken bone.
Yes. Yes. So, I just want to say, if you didn't hear the message, I'm asking everybody this week. First of all, James takes this shotgun approach to James. He just gives these practical truths all over the place. But he says in verse 19, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. And then he adds in verse 20, the reason human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. So this week, I did this morning. I'm like, oh, Scott, you asked everybody to do this. Make sure you do it yourself. I want you to pray, read this verse, James chapter 1, verse 19, read it, reread it, and then pray it. It's already true. It's not like we're praying for the verse to be true, but we're praying for the principles to be true in our own lives. Right.
And if you're afraid you'll forget to do that, maybe we write it on a sticky note and stick it to the dashboard in your car, or put it somewhere that you'll be every morning, mirror in the bathroom, so that the first thing we think about is let's control our tongues today. Because you're right, and we had the marriage seminar on Friday night, and then we had Dave Wheatus with us back again yesterday in the morning for us, and you and Billy were able to interview him and talk a little bit about what he had said. And it was very similar of, we need to think through what's happening inside of us before it comes out, essentially.
Absolutely.
Because, and this was a point you made yesterday that I thought was so good. The phrase is, control my words, control my life. Control my words, control my anger. Control my words, control my addiction. Control my words, control my conflict. And I thought the way you talked about it was so interesting. You were like, your words are almost like a low-hanging fruit of that's a really easy thing to control. And you could battle back and forth all day about, what constitutes a curse in scripture, what are bad words, what can we, like that theological conversation can happen, but do we have control over our words is a different conversation, and is what's coming out of our mouth coming out without thought, or is it coming out intentionally? And I think that's probably more along the lines of what James is saying when he's saying don't speak curses and don't speak anger. I think it's really that, get control of what you're saying.
I was mentioning in Celebrate Recovery, we have a guideline in our small groups that basically asks you not to swear in small groups. But part of that is because, at least from my experience, swearing is a very natural part of it's a part of secular recovery. And so when you come to Celebrate Recovery, which is Christ-centered recovery, we ask you to guard your words. But part of that too is guarding our words. If James says, it's not me, he says, if you can guard your words, you can control your life. You can be, he literally uses the word perfect, i.e. none of us can completely control our tongues perfectly, but hypothetically. And so we ask people as low-hanging fruit, start there. Control your words. Because here's the thing. You are capable of doing that. It's true. You can choose to choose which words you're using. And so it's a good step towards self-discipline.
I think that is, it's the self-control piece, right? Do I have that? Am I allowing the Holy Spirit to work that way for me? Clearly in speech is a great spot that we can start. I think something else you said yesterday is part of our communication is speech, but it's a small part actually compared to the body language that we have and the tone of voice that we have. And I mean, I could demonstrate that by just,
Yep.
Scott, yesterday you said that I need to control my tongue.
You must be angry at me.
Right. But then I say, Scott, you said yesterday I need to control my tongue.
Yeah.
That's a totally different
message
totally different communicated,
message.
Right? Crossed arms is one thing. Leaning into a conversation is another thing.
Absolutely.
And then tone is important. Up to 50% is your body language, and up to 40% is your tone.
Tone of voice. Yeah, it's amazing. Which I hesitated to say because if anybody was paying attention, they went, oh, well, so then words are only 10%. But obviously, words and tone of voice and body language go hand in hand.
Right. And there are many, I think that the way that we speak, right, our words, there is an element of control. Like when we are focused on controlling our words, naturally, because of the connection that body language has to it and tone of voice has to that, those will also come under control.
That's right.
As we're working on our words.
That's right. So read and pray this week, James 1:19.
Yeah.
I really think if we knew the gospel, if we knew the message of the gospel, and we only had one verse that we could have written, printed before us, I just think that one verse is so powerful. It really can change the way we relate to each other. It just doesn't solve every issue, but it can make a huge difference.
Right. Displays humility when I say, okay, to me, you are worth slowing down and controlling what's going to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I might want to fly off the handle, but I care enough about you that our relationship is important to me, and I want to approach this with self-control.
Absolutely. Which reminds me a lot of the word, I don't know if I mentioned in both services, but the word pause, P-A-U-S-E, such a powerful word.
Yeah.
Pause. And that's what, quick to listen, slow to speak. If we're quick to listen, it naturally slows our words down.
Yeah.
So the two go hand in hand. And then, but if we're the opposite, it fuels our anger. Once I start hearing myself get angry, I'll probably get angrier.
That's very true. Something too that Dave Wheatus had mentioned at the marriage seminar was the way that the amygdala in our brain takes control of a situation. I recently have watched Inside Out 2. I loved
Great
the first
movie.
Yeah. The second one lived up to the first one just as much, I think. And so when I think about the amygdala, I can't help but think about like the character anxiety or the character fear or like the way that they just go, oh my gosh, like, you know, and pausing also helps give the rest of your brain a second to catch up to what's going on in the amygdala. That's important. So
prefrontal cortex, that's the quarterback of the brain, and when that amygdala takes over, that quarterback goes offline. And the amygdala is running the show. So
well, let's end maybe with this quote from Doctors John and Julie Gottman, where, because I know like the whole purpose of this series is relationships and healthy relationships, and conflict is a part of healthy relationships. But this quote, they said, is being heard is so close to being loved that for the average person, they are almost indistinguishable. And knowing that about the people around us that we love, and we're called to love everyone, right? So it's not just your spouse or your kids at home, although it's important to practice with them. It's not just the ones we like, it's the ones we're called to love. Hearing people communicates love.
Absolutely.
And that is a really powerful tool for the sake of sharing the gospel.
And if you've not been to one of Serving Leaders marriage seminars, we did a 2-hour version of it, but Created for a Connection is powerful. Tricia and I did that back in May, and they continue to offer them, and great way to practice these skills.
It's true. Alrighty. Well,
Yeah, I hope you can join us Sunday too.
Hope so.
Last part of the series.
I know. And you're up again, right?
I'm up again.
All right.
Can you believe that? 2 in a row.
What a treat.
But we're doing gratitude Sunday before Thanksgiving.
That makes sense.
We're doing gratitude as it relates to relationships.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? I can't wait to hear what I'm going to say.
I agree with that. And maybe we'll take this and throw it away.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's lived its life. All right.
Served its purpose.
Have a great week, everybody.
All right. See you guys.